Hello students, today we are going to start a new poem of Wordsworth, that is line composed upon Westminster Bridge. So first of all I will tell you about the general aspect of poem. This is basically a famous sonnet of Wordsworth that describe a city and make it contrast with the nature. It is very paradoxical in nature. Now, first of all, I would like to tell you what a sonnet is. A sonnet is basically 14 lines poem, and generally in English there are two types of sonnets. First is patriarchal sonnet, and the second one is Shakespearean sonnets. In patriarchal sonnets, we divide poems into two parts. The first part contains 8 lines, and second part contains 6 lines. And the first part is known as octave and second part is known as sestet. And what is the difference in these type of sonnets? Generally, a poet try to sum up his first paragraph octave in the last line and the sestet in the last line. It happens in these poems. And the rhyme scheme of this is A B B A B B A. See, now you know how to see the rhyme scheme. So you can easily find it. Okay, what is the rhyme scheme of that? Now another type of sonnet is Shakespearean sonnet, where the entire poem has been divided into 3 stanzas of 4 lines and ended with a couplet. So in the 4 stanzas, he talks about the poem, and in the last couplet, he tries to end his poem. The rhyme scheme for that Shakespearean sonnet is A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. One more thing I want to tell you, that maybe if you will read different books or you will go to the various sites, you will find various type of sonnets like Milton sonnets, Spenserian sonnets, or maybe many more. So all these types of sonnet, Milton sonnets or the Spenserian sonnets, come under the category of Shakespearean sonnets. Means they follow that particular format, 4 lines poems. Only the difference is of rhyme scheme. For example, as I already told you that in Shakespearean sonnets we have rhyme scheme of A B C D E F G G. Now in the Spenserian sonnet, the sonnet will be the same, divided into the 4 types, but only the difference will be the rhyme scheme. So these are the 2 types of sonnets, and in the poem Lines Composed Upon the Westminster Bridge is an example of patriarchal sonnets. See, the poem has been divided into 2 parts. Each hath no anything to show more fair to all bright. These are 8 lines and known as octave. And now the next paragraph has 6 lines, and now it is known as sestet. I hope you have understand what the sonnet is. But still I will recapitulate the both type of sonnet. Sonnet 2 तरह के होते हैं. 14 लाइन की पोएम को सोनेट कहते हैं. एक पेट्रियार्कल सोनेट होता है, जो पेट्रियार्क एक ग्रीक राइटर था बहुत पुराना, और उसने अपनी बिलवड के लिए पोएम्स लिखी थी एक पर्टिकुलर राइम स्कीम में, और जितनी भी पोएम्स थी सब 14 लाइन्स की थी. तो वो जो पेट्रियार्क ने लिखी थी सोनेट टाइप, उस सोनेट टाइप को ही हम पेट्रियार्कल सोनेट कहते हैं. और इसमें बेसिकली जो पोएम होती है वो 2 स्टेंजाज में डिवाइड होती है. फर्स्ट स्टेंजा के अंदर 8 लाइन्स होती है जिसको ऑक्टेव कहते हैं, एंड इन 7 लाइन का सम अप 8 लाइन में होता है. सिमिलरली जो नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ होता है उसमें 6 लाइन होती है जिसको हम सेस्टेट बोलते हैं, और लास्ट लाइन में उसका सम अप होता है. कई बार तो देखते हो, अगर आप लार्किन पढ़ोगे जब मास्टर्स करोगे, फिलिप लार्किन, तो उसकी आई थिंक उसका एक सोनेट था, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर द नेम, बट उसमें तो थीम ही अलग अलग हो गई है. शुरू की 8 लाइन में उसने एक अलग थीम दिखाई है और बाकी 6 में अलग. तो इट हैपन्स इन दिस टाइप ऑफ सोनेट. सेकेंडली जो हमारा सोनेट आता है शेक्सपियरियन सोनेट आता है, जिसके अंदर की पोएम डिवाइड होती है 3 स्टेंजाज में, 4 लाइन के 3 स्टेंजाज होते हैं और एंड होता है हेरोइक कपलेट के साथ। आप जब बहुत सारा बुक्स देखोगे तो आपको बहुत तरह के सोनेट्स मिल सकते हैं, जैसे मिल्टन, स्पेंसरियन, तो सबका फॉर्मेट सेम होता है। मोस्टली सब शेक्सपियरियन सोनेट का फॉर्मेट जो होता है उसी पर लिखते हैं। ओनली डिफरेंस होता है राइम स्कीम का। अब आपको राइम स्कीम आई थिंक देखनी आ चुकी है, बट स्टिल सी द पोएम एंड लास्ट वर्ड देखिए पोएम के, फेयर देन बाय मेजेस्टी वेयर। फेयर इज राइमिंग विद वेयर, फेयर वेयर बाय मेजेस्टी। तो ये ए बी बी ए, बेयर किसके साथ हो रहा है, बेयर हो रहा है एयर के साथ, और लाई स्काई के साथ राइम हो रहा है ना। तो इस तरीके से आपको राइम स्कीम देखनी आनी चाहिए, तभी आप पता लगा पाएंगे कि कौन से टाइप का सोनेट है। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट द पोएम विदाउट एनी डिले। वन मोर थिंग आई वांट टू टेल यू, जैसे कि हमें पता है वर्ड्सवर्थ इज अ पोएट ऑफ नेचर, नेचर की बात करता है, बट he's a transitory poet. Basically he enjoys the time period of romanticism and the early Victorian time period as well. So at the end of the romanticism, basically in 1798 or 1800, industrial revolution was on its beginning phase. And as we all know, when the industrial revolution came into the England, at the time people were attracted toward the materialistic things, because the industries were established in the metropolitan cities. So at the time the rich people became more richer and the poor became more poor. It was a kind of an exploitation as well with the worker class. And later on it gave birth to the Marx theory and all, where we read ki, where Karl Marx talks about the laborers. So here we find that Wordsworth, who saw the early phase of industrial revolution, somewhere it makes a lots of change in the city life, and he is watching these changes, and somewhere he is feeling that people are going far from nature, and in this poem he tries to connect that nature with the city life. However, it is quite paradoxical, क्योंकि आपने देखा ही है शहरों की शोर शराबे में आप नेचर को एंजॉय कर ही नहीं सकते, बट वर्ड्सवर्थ make an attempt to connect both the things. See the first line of the poem, earth hath not anything to show more fair, dull would he be of the soul who could pass by. Even the title of the poem suggests Westminster Bridge, that is the city of London, and London is a very busy city. And I think Wordsworth is standing on the bridge of Westminster, and he is saying ki, this is the most beautiful place on the entire earth. A dull person or a person who is in extreme grief cannot ignore the beauty of the city. We are well aware about that Wordsworth is a poet of nature, but he is finding beauty in the life of city as well. But the way he defining the beauty is connecting it to the nature. A sight so touching in its majesty, this city now doth like a garment wear. So a sight is so touching in its majesty. That means he's saying that it is a very beautiful scene, that it is touching our heart. Most probably it is the time of early morning, where maybe there are very less people are awakened, and they are starting their day. So that scenes are very beautiful. For example, maybe a child is giving a flower to her grandmother, or a king is entering in the throne room. All these he is combining all these elements and find them entirely beautiful. This city now doth like a garment wear. London is a very cold place. Early in the morning, Even in India, during the winter's time, we see lots of fog. Similarly, when industries are established in London, and it is a very cold place, we can see a layer of fog, white fog, which he compare with the garments. Maybe the mountain covered with the snow, and the garment has been compared with the fog, which is looking him a very beautiful. He feel it is a very beautiful thing which he is finding. The beauty of the morning silent bed. In the early in the morning, everything is silent. Basically, city life is very hectic. You will find lots of traffic, lots of sound and noise, which is creating trouble to you. But in the early time period, in the early morning time period, everything is silent. कोई थिएटर नहीं खुला है, कोई व्हीकल नहीं जा रहा है बहुत ज़्यादा, तो साउंड नहीं क्रिएट हो रही है, तो बहुत शांत सा माहौल है जो उसको बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. And the same thing he is defining: ships, tower, domes, theater and the temple lie. lie कैसे, झूठ कैसे बोल रहे हैं? Because they all are silent. उनको देखकर लगता ही नहीं है कि पूरे दिन ये इतना शोर मचाते हैं, इतना नॉइस क्रिएट करते हैं. Ships, towers, domes, all things make so much noises, but now they all are silent because it is morning time, and in the morning time they all are silent and creating a kind of a beauty in city. Open unto the fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Fields are open means because there is not much crowd, so he is feeling that it is open. And when you look at the sky in the morning time, the sky is very clear, very beautiful. And now all the bright and glittering in the smokeless air, that means it is the time of sun rising. And when the sun rises, at the time the smoke has been evaporated, all thing becomes clear, glittering, because in the sunshine everything is glittering and looking very beautiful. And even this line, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air, somewhere he is summing up the all 7 lines, means he's ending the line. Why? Because he says कि नाउ सूरज निकल गया है, हर चीज़ चमक रही है, बहुत सुंदर लग रही है, लेकिन अब नेक्स्ट की जो लाइंस हैं उनमें हम थोड़ा अलग थीम देखेंगे. इस लाइन के अंदर ये इस पैराग्राफ को समवेयर ट्राइंग टू सम अप, because as we have discussed, he is describing early morning scene, and when the sun rises, everything becomes so shine in the light of sun. So here we have ended the first stanza of the sonnet. Now start the second stanza. Never did sun more beautiful steep in his first splendor, valley, rocks or hill. See, सिटी में आपको कहाँ देखने को मिलेगा वैली, रॉक, हिल? सो समवेयर he is creating a kind of a paradox, because in city you will not find all these things. Secondly, yes, he compares this sunlight with the sunlight of remote area or the sunlight of village, where as we all know that Dorothy Wordsworth and William Wordsworth spent their mostly life in Lake District, and Lake District is a kind of a village that is very beautiful, very calm, everything is full of beauty. So now he is comparing that city sunlight with the countryside sunlight, where everything is beautiful, because in the morning in a village, especially in the village of London, which is situated in valleys or is situated on hills, so where there we find mountains. You can see mountains which are covered with snow and the greenery, and the birds are chirping and creating a very good scene. So he's comparing it with that. Never saw I, never felt a calm so deep, the river glideth at his own sweet will. So, see, the river, which river is found in London? River Thames, which is flowing under the Westminster Bridge. And he says that that river is looking so calm, so patient, that it is flowing in its own manner. He compared it with a calm people, with a calm person who works with lots of patience. And in the same way, river Thames is flowing. It is not flowing fast, it is flowing very passionately and with very calmly. Dear God, the very houses seems asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. So now he cries out to the God as if he has just recognized something astonishing he had not noticed before. Because in the city life, every time he saw full of crowd, full of noise. But in the early time, he somewhere see that beauty, and he is thanking God to somewhere for this, because he is able to see this peaceful look of a city. See, and somewhere we feel that he is lying, because cities are not so calm. You cannot find beauty in the cities. But definitely, this poem is paradoxical in nature, and it is an attempt to tell human beings go back to the nature, because we are connected to us. Even when we talk that Westminster Bridge, he is symbolizing bridge as a connecting part, which is connecting city to the nature. So here we have ended our poem. Let recapitulate it again. In the first part, in the first 8 lines, he is describing the beauty of the city, because in the early in the morning, he is moving here and there, and he is standing on the Westminster Bridge, and he feel that everything is so beautiful, everything is so calm, and it is a foggy morning somewhere. And when the sun shines, he feel that everything is shining very beautifully. But in the next passage, in the next lines, he is comparing the beauty of city with the beauty of country yard, because he find that country yard में सुबह कितनी सुंदर होती थी, and somewhere he is trying to compare that beauty with the beauty of city life. So here we have ended this poem. In the next lecture, we will go for the another poem. Thank you.